Hey, do you know Chad?
Yeah, dude, Chad Smith.
No, not the guy next door who drives a lifted pickup truck with no muffler. I'm talking about Chad, the Central African nation that's really a modern war zone. It's got insurgents, terrorists, civil wars. Dang, why is this happening in Chad? Well, it goes back to the 1800s when Chad wasn't a country, but actually a network of people groups that were centered on important trade routes and population hubs like Lake Chad. These groups weren't very unified, so when Europe came to exploit Africa during the late 1800s, they were easy pickings. The French in particular wanted Chad because of its fertile southern lands used to grow cotton. But even France didn't want Chad that much. Cotton production wasn't making France that much money, so they kind of threw Chad to the side. See, if you were really bad at school in France, don't worry, you still had a job. They would just send you to become a leader in Chad. Because of this poor French governance, there was limited access to education and food. Uprisings and rebellions became common. Wait, but only the southern parts of Chad were making France a little bit of money. What about northern Chad? Well, northern Chad is dominated by the Saharan Desert. When the French heard the word desert, they said, ew, and they barely even operated the government in northern Chad. Because of a limited and lazy French government, resistance against colonial rule began to grow stronger. Chadians formed political parties against French rule and eventually gained independence by 1960. One of the worst effects of French colonial rule wasn't just a lack of education or famines, it was the creation of a sharp divide between northern and southern Chadians. The French showed preference to southern Chadians, which angered northern Chadians for years to come. Starting in 1960, the new southern-led government ruled Chad as a dictatorship for 20 years. In 1979, rebels from the north, led by Hassan Habre, took control of the country. Because of this, French soldiers in the country fled, leaving a power vacuum. And this void was quickly filled by Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was the leader of Libya, Chad's northern neighbor that had long claimed territory in northern Chad. And Gaddafi ordered the Libyan army to take control of northern Chad, where they built military bases and settlements. A civil war between Libyan-backed rebels and President Hassan Habre lasted until 1987, when the French backed Hassan Habre. This led to the greatly named Toyota War. Chadian troops riding on the back of Toyota trucks defeated the Libyan army, taking control back of northern Chad for the first time in over 10 years. Maybe Chad, the country, and dudes named Chad both do like to drive trucks. Yay, Chad was saved from Libya, and I bet the Western-backed President Hassan Habre will be great. No, Habre was a ruthless dictator who attacked opposition against his rule. He was constantly paranoid about a rebellion trying to overthrow him, and executed thousands of intellectuals in the country. And eventually, his own military had enough of his bloody rule. In 1990, his own general, Idris Deby, overthrew him. Habre was arrested and indicted by an international court that found him guilty on over 40,000 charges of murder, among other crimes. His successor, General Deby, showed some promise. He made a new constitution and worked to build ties with strained ethnic groups. But in 2006, he removed his own term limits, leading for civil war to break out. The country remained unstable until 2021, when Deby was killed on the battlefield, leading his soldiers against rebels. While all these civil wars have been taking place, Chad has also been dealing with the issue of terrorism. Since 2015, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Boko Haram have been launching terror campaigns in western Chad, near Lake Chad and the capital of N'Djamena. Today, Chad's security situation is still unstable, and corruption and violence remains prevalent inside the country. The brutal ethnic cleansing campaign in neighboring Sudan threatens to spill over into eastern Chad, while terrorists attack the west. It's important that Chad begins to control internal problems to boost the way that citizens view its government. This could be harder now for Chad that they found themselves in between a battle of the US, China, and Russia, and have recently been engaged in a war of words with the United States over President Trump's recent travel bans to Chad. Hopefully one day Chad can achieve the stability it needs to grow as a successful country. And thank you all for watching the video. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to pack your bags for our next journey to Chile.